Good morning, fellas. Just rocked up down Waitpinga beach. Do a spot of fishing. Firstly, see that sign there? That's there for a good reason. This beach can be dangerous sometimes, but today, as you can see, it's looking pretty good. Lately there's been a few salmon trout being caught and a few bigger fish as well, so we'll see what we can do. I'm excited, so let's pop on down and have a cast. It's good to be down here. Beautiful. It's better than staying in bed, that's for sure. That's a beautiful spot. You can see that. For those who aren't familiar with fishing on the beach, that bluey green water in front, which heads, well, is very calm, not too many waves, but where the waves are breaking is where the sandbars are. See that wave breaking? And to the right of them waves is what's called the gutter. And the gutter's the deep water what runs out into the sea at the back of the waves. Also, the gutter comes into the beach and sometimes swings to the left or the right and runs along the edge of the beach. Them parts are called the channels. They run between the beach and the sandbar. The waves will break, you can see the waves breaking on that sandbar, and the white water runs over them channels. They can be good places to have a go, because fish will sit underneath that white water. Well, bait fish, and the big fish know where to look. And the good places to fish on gutters are generally on the edges. But anyway, I'm going to go down here and fish in this gutter down here. Give it a go, see if we can catch a feeder fish and hopefully some bigger fish. We can only try. That's Waitpinga Creek. Good place to fish. Get a few bream in there and mullet. Occasional small salmon. I've caught them in there. What a lovely morning. What a lovely morning. Looks fishy to me. Okay, well, I'm here. The chosen spot. What a nice morning this is. Well, anyway, when I come down to Waitpinga, I like to fish with pilchards. Cockles is a good bait, blue bait, white bait, whatever you want to try, but I really do love pilchards. Pilchards create a lot of smell in the water. It's like a self-buoying bait. The rig I like to use is called a paternoster rig. A lot of people are familiar with it. It's probably the biggest rig used around the country. But anyway, I also just use a small 1/0 hook, suicide pattern or eagle claw. Yep, I use one snood with double tide, that's for half pilchard, and the bottom hook is just a single hook. It's also for pilchard because I haven't got any cockles, because cockles is very good as well. Catch a lot of big fish on cockle. Anyway, for the little hook, yeah, a smaller bait of pilchard. The way I bait up with the little hook is simply start at the tail end, just roll your hook in towards the head, there you go, and you can actually go around the backbone of the fish and the hook comes out like that. Lovely. And then just a simple half hitch around the shank of the hook and the tail. You do the half hitch by grabbing your line and just twisting it like this, forms that loop, put your tail of the pilchard into that loop, put the loop over the shank of your hook, hold it with your thumb and just pull it up tight. Not too tight or you'll break the tail off the pilchard. Now see that? That's on. Then just break the pilchard off below the hook and just twist it. You don't need a knife. Simple as that. Lovely, there's a nice little bait. You can use that for bait, but I'll show you what I do with that in a minute. Anyway, the other hook, another pilchard, same again, but this time I got two hooks, bait a little bit bigger, this time in about the middle of the pilchard. Right, again, in the pilchard, try to go around the backbone of the fish if it's not too big. Bring the hook back out, and the same with the second hook. Rolling him in towards the head, back out, lovely. And the same again, another half hitch. Frog in my throat. Yep, just grab your line, simple twist, put the tail in the hole, around the shank of the hook, hold it with your thumb, and pull it tight. Lovely, and again, just hold it below the first hook, and just break it off with a twist. Look at that. Lovely bait. Now, I like to use a burley spring. So I make them myself out of a little bit of galvanized wire. Just copy the ones you buy in the shop, make them a bit bigger. Use a bolt. But anyway, get the head of the pilchard, squeeze it in that spring. You don't have to put this in there every cast, but it helps immensely. Everyone hears about how good burley is. Looks like a big ocean out there, but that really does help. I've got that there and my two baits. Right? I've also got 35-pound line. It's heavy line, but it doesn't twist as bad in the surf. And that comes up to a swivel. Sometimes I run a tracer line from my swivel of 35-pound line down to my reel tied with an Albright knot or a Slim Beauty. But today I haven't. It's okay, you just got to be careful when you cast. Make sure your drag's tight, because if you cast and your drag slips, it can cut your finger. But I'm careful about all that, so just be careful with the braid. So that's pretty much that. Let's give it a go. Wish me luck. I think we might catch something. I hope I just haven't cursed myself. The area I've chose to fish is on the edge of this gutter. You can see the water breaking on the sandbar to the left, but I like to fish on the edge of it. I also like to try in the channel. There's a nice channel what runs along the beach there to the left. It's good to try underneath the white water. Fish like to hide under the white water, little bait fish, and the big fish know where to look. But yeah, now let's start fishing. Stop wasting time talking. Now I've got to keep turning the camera off, but I'll just leave it on this cast. Started off with a small salmon trout. these illegal fish probably go around 23 centimeters, 22, 23, probably around 23. But you're allowed, you got to break the Nexus 2. You're allowed 20 fish between 21 and 35 centimeters long, and 10 fish over 35. So you got to stay within your rules. Anyway, what I do is break his neck and bleed him into my bait. It all helps. Okay, well, there's one little guy. Now the heads also make good bait. Put it on the same way, but you've got the head end, of course. Just row the hook in towards where you broke it off. Second hook into the gill plate. I don't put it in the eye. In the gill plate and out at the back of the neck, like so. Another half hitch around that shank of the hook and around the nose of the pilchard. Lovely. It's a little bit bigger. Lovely. It tastes really nice this size, but I would like to get a bigger one, that's for sure. Okay, well, I've just moved down in front of the sandbar to try and fish underneath that white water. It's a little bit slow in the main gutter. It can be good in these channels, well worth a go. I got one straight away, still only small though. But the tide's coming in, so you got to be, I know it looks pretty calm, but you got to be careful. You get them waves pushing up the beach, the big ones, so you don't want to stand too close to the water, because they can knock you over, they can. Then you can be in a bit of strife. Also keep your bag well back at the top of the beach, and keep your bait in the bag, because all these little guys they will eat your bait given half the chance. The local seagull gang. On that single hook you can thread the head on, go through the eye with a single hook, go back through the gill plate. That helps secure it on really good, and then roll it into the bait, like so. And you can put a half inch around the nose of the pilchard. That's a nice secured bait. You don't have to put burley in all the time, because burley does hinder your cast. Well, can't cast as far with all this weight on your line, but the burley does help. This sounds like quicksand. You come down, you catch a few fish, and you get some good exercise. Gets them lungs working. That one's alright. Nice. He was on the single hook. Lovely fish. Happy. Into the jacket off in a minute, it's getting a bit warm. I've also just found a heap of fishing line on the beach here, so I'm going to pick it up. Can't ignore the fishing line that was left behind. Look at all that. Tangles around the bird's legs. Wouldn't be too pleasant. Sinker here as well. Oh no, no sinker. Well, I'm going to go take my jacket off, put this fishing line in my bag. Another little salmon trout. I'm getting the feed together. Getting them underneath that bit of white water there. Yeah. Very pleasant morning to be catching a few fish. The surfies are having a good time today. They've got a beautiful wave. Salmon trout. Lovely. That wind's starting to pick up. The weather's going to get really bad tomorrow. So I'll get a nice bit of fish in the fridge, well, and the freezer. Yeah, the weather's been pretty bad. This is a bit of a gap I've had. So rough down here. I've still got a bit on there. I just put my half hitch back onto it. Lovely. Won't bother with the burley. I've been putting burley in about every third cast. Water coming up now with the tide. It's quite nice. I might go home soon, but I've got a bit of bait left. Yeah, I like to use these 1/0 hooks because I can catch the big fish and the little fish on them. I actually came down a couple of days ago and I caught some nice fish, but the camera played up a little bit. But I got a nice 2 kilo fish on the small hooks, so I might. That part of the film actually turned out, but a bit of it didn't. The camera went a bit funny, but I might put that on here just to show it to you because it was a nice fish. And yeah, the 3-star sinkers rather than the 4-star, they hold a lot better in the surf. And this rig is the one I like to use down Waitpinga. If I was at Salt Creek or somewhere else where the bigger salmon are, I would use a totally different rig and the bigger hook as well. But this is the way I like to do it down here. There's lots of different techniques. There's no rules. You can try whatever you like. That's all part of fishing. Trial and error. You do different things and learn different things as you go along. Yes, soon it will be home time. I'll show you what I've caught when I've finished, obviously. Yeah, a few more casts yet. Sorry, I got to keep turning the camera off because the batteries don't last too long in these. Carry on. Well guys, I've hooked onto a big one. That's a cracker. That was on my last pilchard and all. See? Hooked nice on them little one-ohs. What a beautiful fish. Oh well. With that, I'm going to call it a day. Very happy. Probably around 2 kilo. What a cracker. Nice Waitpinga salmon. That's a nice little one. That's what happens to your bait if you don't put it in your bag. Gone in 2 seconds. I'm going to call it a day. Better go home and do my work, I guess. Yeah, I'll just go up here and I'll show you my fish. I got a nice feed. It's been a pleasant morning. Oh well, here we are. I've finished. Let's see what I've caught. It's been a nice pleasant morning. No real whoppers like the other day, or like that one what I showed you. I did get one nice one there. He's a good little fish. Bit of sand. He's all right. Bit more fishing line I picked up. It's really not good to leave fishing line on the beach. Anyway, we've got a nice little feed here. Lovely. Few fish. They'll be nice in the pan. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 little trouties, small salmon. But yeah, the other day was pretty good. Nice big one, a couple of others that big, and some other little trouties. But yeah, it's lovely. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. I'll be down here again another day. Hopefully my camera won't stuff up. And tight lines when you go fishing. Don't fall in the water here if you do come here, if you're not used to the place. Just look for the deep water, look for the sandbars, the channels what run along the edge of the beach. Good place to try. Beautiful gutter here what runs out to sea. Fish with pilchards, cockles, whitebait, bluebait, whatever. Fish with a small hook because there's a lot of small fish here, and the big fish obviously. You got to take whatever the day offers. Anyway, yeah. See you guys. Be good.